Okay, this one I want to talk about how do you convert the coordinates. Okay, this one we can see it. Your x is your y is 2, your x is a -2. So if I call that for point A, okay, if point A is a -2, 2 in rectangular format. Now in polar format, obviously you know it's a 45 degree, right? This is a 45 degree because of that these two coordinates are same, so cut in 45. So you know your theta is a 45 degree and in quadrant 2. So 45 degree in quadrant 2, which is 145. Okay, remember we did this one is a 180 and quadrant 2 reference angle of 45. So you take 180 minus 45. 180 subtract 45, so we know it is 130 degree. So you know that your angle is 135 degrees here. Now how do I get my R? My R is the what is the hypotenuse of this right triangle. So hypotenuse of the right triangle with the 2 and 2. So you know 2 and 2 will be 1 to 1 to root 2. So that would be 2 root 2. Okay, we have that 45 degree triangle. So the 1 to 1 to root 2. So that would be 2 to 2 to 2 root 2. And R is 2 root 2. Why we didn't put it for the negative? Because I rotate it by counterclockwise. So the angle is positive and the R is positive. So this one, coordinates of the rectangular form, your polar would be this. This is the polar coordinates. It will be 2 root 2 and 135. So if I have a 1, okay, let me do that. If you have 4, 3, see your coordinate, x coordinate is 4, and your y coordinate is 3. So if in the rectangular coordinate is 4, 3, that's in rectangular. Then in polar, obviously, you see that this is 3, and that's 4. And then use the Pythagorean theorem, you know this is 3, and that's 4. So using Pythagorean theorem, you know this 3, 4, and that will be 5. Right? So therefore, your R and theta. So I already know the 5. Now theta, you use an arctangent. It's easier way to use the arctangent. So you have theta here. You do arctangent of 3 over 4, right? Rise over run. And just use your calculator, put in radian mode. No, put in degree mode. Then you get 37 degree. If I want to round to the nearest degree, so that means this is 37 degree. So that means your coordinate will become 5, 37 degree. Okay, that's the coordinate in rectangular is a 4, 3. In polar would be 5 and 37. Now, which quadrant? Okay, all the quadrant here are using reference angle. Okay, when we talk about the reference angle, is this one. Is the acute angle formed with the terminal side and the x-axis. So if I have a coordinate system like this, so this one is called reference angle. Okay, acute angle. Okay, this one is a reference angle. That one is a reference angle. And this one is a reference angle. So when it's a reference angle of 30 degrees, it make what? 180. 180 degrees subtract 30. So that's why it's a 150. That's that one, right? 180 subtract 30, so that's 150. 180 plus 30, that's 210. 180 minus 45 is quadrant 2. Y minus going up and then plus going down. We know that counterclockwise is a plus and clockwise is a negative. So if I have a 180 here, 180 minus 30, 180 plus 30. 180 minus 45, 180 plus 45. Okay, that's from the reference angle, then you'll be able to calculate what is your angle. Okay, so in here, we know that the degree of 30 degree, reference angle of 30 degree, in quadrant 1, definitely is 30. In quadrant 2 is a 180 subtract 30. In quadrant 3 is a 180 plus 30. In quadrant 4, now if you rotate it whole cycle, that means 360. But you have to clockwise, right? So that will be subtract. So you take 360, subtract 30. So once you have a reference angle, you'll be able to find all the angle in each quadrant. So this will be 150, 210, and 330 degree. So if I'm doing it like 1√3 for rectangular form, okay, for rectangular form, then you know your rise over run. Why I can do rise over run? Because we always talk about with the origin. Okay, so this one you draw out from the origin, come from there out. So therefore your slope will take √3 minus 0 and then that minus that, right? So your slope is √3 over 1. So that's why we can use arctangent of √3. And arctangent of √3 is 60 degrees. Then you want to find out what is your r. Your r is the distance from the origin. So we already know 1 to √3 to 2, right? If you don't know it, just take y minus y squared, x minus x squared. So we 1 square and then √3 square, taking square root. So your radius is 2. And the angle is 60 degrees. So let's go from the rectangular to Porter. Okay, from the rectangular to Porter, so I'm going to do the, memorize the 3 angle. Okay, arctangent of 1 is 45 degrees because of, in here for 45 degrees, if this is a 1 and that's a 1, is that right on the 45 degree? So, what are you here for? So early. Oh, you make up for English? Huh? Okay, in here I wanted to discuss the point here. If I have 1 radical 3 and -1 radical 3, -1 negative radical 3, and 1 negative radical 3. So all of them, this one is xy. I want to make it into r theta. So all of them has the same location of, you know, your arctangent is rise over run √3, right? Which is 60 degrees. So that means all of them are 60 degrees. If this one is in quadrant 1, this one is in quadrant 2, and this one is in quadrant 3, and in quadrant 4. So when you write it, you only need to figure out what is your r. Your r is the distance here, right? So your r is square root of square plus square. So it's 1 plus 3. So all of them r is 2. And you know reference angle of 60. So in quadrant 1, 60. In quadrant 2, you go from here, subtract 60. So it's a 120. In quadrant 3, so 240. In quadrant 4 is 300. So this one will be 2 60 degree and 2 120 degree. This 2 240 degree and 2 300 degree. Okay, so that is a very similar question. All of them, okay, it looks the same. If I turn it the other way around, √3 1 and √3 1 in quadrant 2, negative √3, negative 1, and √3, negative 1. So you know your r is the same. So this will be 2, but this time rise over run is arctangent of 1 over 3, so which is 30. Okay, this one is 1. Okay, this one is 1 to √3 to 2. Okay, the triangle concept is, if this is 30, that's a 1 to √3 to 2. If 45 degree is 1 to 1 to the 2. If 60 degree, then is root 3 and 1 and then 2. So all those are common ratio. So this one will be 2 and 30 degrees. And 2 in quadrant 2, there's a 150 degree. And in quadrant 3, so 210. And in quadrant 4 is 3 of 330 degree. And then plus you can rewrite it all different coordinates.